One of the biggest obstacles for beginning students learning AutoCAD is understanding how the mouse interacts with the software. You may think that I'm explaining this task in an overly simplistic way. This is not the case because AutoCAD programming is very different than other modeling software programs. This video will walk you through how to use the mouse to get the results you expect. There are separate videos for programming a mouse on a PC and a Mac. Please watch those videos prior to working in AutoCAD for the first time. Next, I will demonstrate the basic ways to use the two most common mouse styles in AutoCAD so that you can maneuver on the screen with ease. Let's get started with the basic fingering techniques of using a mouse in AutoCAD. The left side of the mouse is the primary button you will use when selecting objects in AutoCAD, and it is also the left button for drafting objects. On a 3-button mouse, primarily used with PC computers, the left button is well defined. However, on an Apple mouse, you will be simply picking on the left side of the mouse. Consider that there is an imaginary center axis on the mouse. If you pick to the left of that imaginary line, then you will be hitting the correct area on the Mac mouse. Similarly, when you are working on a laptop trackpad, you will need to program the top left side of the pad to interface with AutoCAD as the selection button. This is a good time to point out that in AutoCAD, you will need to use both hands to interface with the software. This is because one hand will typically be using the keyboard, while the other hand is moving objects on the screen. Because students find it challenging to hold down the trackpad button while drafting lines and objects, it is highly recommended that you invest in a mouse instead of using the trackpad. This image demonstrates how a left-handed person would hold the mouse and access the left button on the mouse. In between the left and right mouse buttons is the roller wheel. The roller feature on this type of mouse also serves as a third button. You can zoom in closer to a drawing's details by brushing your finger over the roller wheel. When the roller is actually pressed down in AutoCAD, you can move the drafting model around in space, much like you could if you moved an object with your hand on a flat surface. Let's compare these features using an Apple mouse. When you want to zoom around in a drawing detail using an Apple mouse, you will brush your finger up and down the center of the mouse. When you brush your finger up the mouse, the drawing will become more magnified in detail. And when you brush your finger down the center of the Apple mouse, the drawing will be less magnified in detail, and it will appear to be farther away from you. To pan around in the drawing, you will do two things. Hold down the spacebar on your keyboard while you pick with the left mouse button and move your hand with the mouse in the direction that you want to pan around. When you see the little hand detail in AutoCAD on your screen, you are in the panning mode, and this will allow you to move your drawing around much like you would if you put your hand flat on a piece of paper on your desk and slid it around on the desk surface. To end using the pan mode, simply stop holding down the spacebar key. Let's move on to the function of the right mouse button. To select anything in AutoCAD, pick directly on the object using the left mouse button. Once an object has been selected, if you pick on the right mouse button, you will see a mini menu fly out of options. For example, from this menu, AutoCAD narrows down the options that can be done with the selected line. The mini menu flyout helps to narrow down what you should do next with the selection. For example, we often need to know the properties of the selected object, and this choice is always located at the bottom of the flyout menu. So far, we've looked at a 3-button mouse typically used with AutoCAD PC. The left button is used for selecting objects, and the right button is used for accessing the mini-menu flyout of commands. The roller wheel is used for magnifying parts of the drawing. When you roll the wheel away from yourself, you zoom in closer to drawing details. When you roll the wheel toward yourself, the screen will show more of the drawing, but with less apparent fine detail. In the first lesson, we will go over precision zooming techniques. Let's look at different types of mice that you could choose for working in AutoCAD. We've looked at a standard 3-button mouse used in AutoCAD PC. We've also looked at the Apple mouse for working in Mac AutoCAD. Among many different styles and options is the 4-button mouse, also more typically used with AutoCAD PC. Notice that the 4th button of this model, located between the left button and the roller wheel, is used as an additional programmable button. The extra small mouse button is typically one that you can program to fit your personal drafting preferences. Some students use the extra button to serve as a 2-time or double-click button. This is not something we typically need in AutoCAD, but could be programmed to do a variety of different things related to the software. Let's review and build on what we know about mousing in AutoCAD. The mouse is an important instrument that will aid your drafting in AutoCAD. The mouse you choose for AutoCAD PC and Mac AutoCAD are different, but serve the same purpose. To zoom around using a 3-button mouse in AutoCAD PC, roll the center button, which is the roller wheel, back and forth. To pan using the 3-button mouse, press the roller wheel down and drag the mouse left or right. To zoom around using an Apple mouse, brush your fingers up and down the center of the mouse. To pan using an Apple mouse, you have to use the spacebar on the keyboard and pick the left mouse button as you move the mouse left or right. It is essential for you to become comfortable using a mouse to zoom and pan around in a drawing in order for you to start learning how to draft in AutoCAD.